Morning, everybody. We're going to get started. I guess I'll just say 2026. I didn't even do the math.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank you, everybody, for coming. Today is our first ninth grade networking meeting. I'm Jane Benton, and this is Lori McLaughlin, my co-chair of the ninth grade networking meetings. So we just wanted to introduce today, first off, our PFA co-presidents, Jerry Moore and Sarah Vreda, who are just going to say a quick hello.
Morning. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'll just wait for everyone to take a quick seat. Okay. As Jane said, I'm Jerry Moore, co-president of the New Canaan High School PFA, and along with my co-president, Sarah Vreda, we'd like to welcome you to the first ninth grade networking of the year. I hope your freshmen are settling in, and they've mastered the block schedule, and they will be attending the football game. It's the first home football game on Friday, so it's very exciting. So we have limited time, so I'm going to get right to it. We have 10 days left in our PFA annual appeal. Our goal is to raise $75,000, and we're a little more than halfway there. And we do not receive any monies from the Board of Ed or from the district, and we rely solely on the generosity of our parent community. And the majority of our funds fall under 4 major categories and support the following programs and events. Academic and educational programs such as Safe Driving Week, Career Night, and college essay workshops, as well as grade level events such as midterm prep for freshmen, understanding GPS and Naviance for sophomores, college planning for juniors, and financial aid night and college transition seminar for seniors. We also fund social activities and clubs such as the Model UN, robotics, bouquet buddies, as well as faculty and staff appreciation events. We also fund faculty grants. Last year, we funded a college essay workshop, or I should say you all funded a college essay workshop. We purchased whiteboards for math classes, as well as electronic keyboards and smartphone tripods for students' use in classrooms. And lastly, we also fund campus beautification. Over the last few years, we've purchased several outdoor tables and umbrellas, refillable water bottle stations throughout the building, new signage on Farm Road, and the end of last year, we commissioned an outdoor mural for the Ram Cafe, which is absolutely stunning. So if you haven't seen it and get a minute, walk around the back of the building. It was funded by your generosity and then painted by the art students here at the high school. So it really makes that outdoor area very inviting, and the kids, in addition to lunch, really use that space for studying. So this is the only time we will ask you for money, and the majority of funds will be used this year. So again, if you've already donated, thank you for your generosity. And if you haven't, you can go to our website, nchs-pfa.org, and there's a donate button there. Okay, so thank you.
So now we're ready to get to the main part of our program, and we are very lucky to have with us today our grade level principal, Christy Carrera, and also our lead counselor, Cynthia Rivera. They have a presentation for you and also some questions and answers at the end. So take it away.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the work that you all do. It's really nice to be here with everyone this morning, so thanks for coming and joining us. Our goal this morning is just to help make sure you're feeling great about the start of freshman year and to hope answer any questions that you may have. We really want to make this all about you and meeting your needs, so at any point, please just raise your hand and ask a question. A lot of what we're going to talk about are things that you probably have heard in some capacity, whether it was at open house or orientation. And at the time, maybe you were thinking, oh, yeah, I know that. And now you're like, wait, I'm not sure if I know that. So raise your hand. We want to help. We want this to be a back and forth. And just make sure that you leave here with all your questions answered. Okay? So we thought we'd start off. I know you probably heard Principal Egan talk about our vision, almost every time, when we present. But I think it's really important that our goal is essentially making sure that school is a place that your children love to come to and that you love to send your kids to. This really is such a great place, and we are so happy your kids are here. And we look forward to these next 4 years with them and partnering with you and just having this be a really successful journey with a lot of growth. We thought we'd share, 2 key components, with everyone is, we want your children to do their best and learn from challenges that they face. If they can look in the mirror and say that they've given their best effort, then we know that they're going to be successful. And we never want to lose sight to just be kind and compassionate to everyone they meet. No one ever looked back in life and regretted treating people with kindness. And that is a huge goal for us here at the high school, is that everyone is just treated kindly and treats everyone with kindness. So we thought we'd put a picture of graduation on here because, you're just starting off on your journey with this child. You may have an older child or younger children, but these 4 years are going to fly by. And, right now we're just talking about the beginning, but we want you to get excited that this is a really great journey. And before we know it, this is where we're going to be. So we just want to help you make that as successful as possible.
No, I think you're doing a good job. Well, no, yes, and I echo everything that Christy is saying here. As counselors, we do work to support your kids through all of this. It's the fastest journey. It's getting faster every year for as long as that I've been doing this. But it's so much fun to watch your kids grow. They start off as, particularly the boys, as these little chubby things that come in freshman year, and then these giants who have to duck when they come in the door by senior year. And to watch them grow and change and adapt and handle the bumps, ups and downs that are normal parts of being an adolescent. It's never a perfect ride, and it's fantastic to see. But there are a lot of supports in this school, and we're going to talk about that, and we're always here for that. Some general information, a lot of questions we get. The no phone policy is very strict here, and we do. Ask kids to put them away unless directed by the teacher. A lot of times there's phone caddies as they walk in the room. So, part of that is you working with your kids around that. They don't need to, for them to say, my mom's texting, my mom's calling. You don't need to call, you learn the schedule too, so you know when to call and text, so they don't use that as a reason to be leaving class because you've called. Think about what is important to call them about and what's not important to call them about. That's a big piece of it, is that they're so tied to those phones, and we try to eliminate as much of that as possible. Homework. We have a policy, a lot of times, since they only see their teachers every other day, teachers don't often post the homework the day that they have class, but the expectation is that they post it by 3 o'clock the day before they are to meet. Actually, we really hope it's day of, but there are things that change and things that happen. But if it's due the next day, that it doesn't suddenly get posted at 9 o'clock at night for your child. And then having your children stay up late to do work. We do have some assignments that we ask the teachers to put deadlines of 11 o'clock, because 12 o'clock they'll stay up and they'll continue to work to that last second before submitting. So we try to get them to put some cutoff time so these kids will get some sleep. We've also asked teachers to talk about how long an assignment should take for a student, because some kids will work for hours on something should be quick. And if they're not getting it, or if they're spending hours, they should stop and email the teacher saying, I'm not understanding this, can we talk in the morning? I have a problem with this, I have an issue. So they do have 2 days to get it finished, or even longer for projects. We're trying to teach kids about opening up those assignments earlier, not the night before they're due, and to make sure they're understanding things. But if you find that your child is spending hours on homework that the teacher is saying this should take you about a half an hour, there's an issue there, and they should either talk to the teacher, or you should talk to the teacher about what the expectations truly are. We do encourage teachers to say, give them 25 to 30-minute average homework assignments each time they get it. It sometimes goes over, of course. Big projects sometimes come into play, or kids don't time themselves well, or they have group projects where they've got to spend an afternoon together. But on average, that's what we're looking at. And students should let teachers know if it's taking longer than the teacher expected them to. Attendance?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
So what's really important, I think, for parents and guardians to know is that if your child is going to be absent or it was absent, that you contact the attendance office either by email or phone to verify that absence. So students are only allowed 8 absences a semester.
That's verified or unverified. So
Yeah,
you're only allowed
they
8.
need, but it needs to be verified. There is an appeal process for students who have, extenuating circumstances or maybe not even some circumstances. We just need to work with them on helping get them to, their classes. But that's really important piece. If you go to take them to the doctor, I think our attendance office, will ask you just kind of return with a note. So even if you just have to pull them out for a period, just contact our attendance office, and they can help guide you.
And I've talked to the kids about this too, where I say, sometimes you think you can just miss PE today because I have some more studying to do because I have a test coming up. And they might say, so I'm just not going to go to PE today. Well, you only get 8 absences there as well. And if they're unexcused, you can't go through that appeal process at the end of the semester because there was a legitimate reason. Missing it for just because you have other things to do is not good enough a reason to do that. You look like you have a question. These
Yeah,
easy questions.
go for it.
If they miss the class, do they send something to the parent, or is it in Power School? Like, if they didn't go, how do we know? That's my question.
So if you have the Power School app on your phone, you can turn on alerts to be notified of a missing absence. However, our attendance office will also email you. I believe I'm not exactly sure, but it's after the school day ends.
And also, I often get calls from parents where they'll say, I'm getting, like after you hit the halfway mark, say 4 absences, you suddenly will get a warning letter or a warning notice that you may lose credit in this class. And then they really get upset and say, well, it was legitimate, they were out sick. Yes, we know, but it's a computer-generated letter to let you know that you are reaching that mark and you need to be careful. We're very generous in the appeals process. If there was absolutely legitimate reasons to be absent, they are granted their credit back, so.
At what point do they consider it a full absence if you have to pick them up for a doctor's appointment at, say, 12 or 1? What is that cutoff that's considered a full absence?
A full day?
Yeah.
We don't create absences by day. It's by period, by class period. So you could lose credit in one class, but not another. So
It's a great question. Yeah.
Can we take them for like a free period, or does that count as being absent?
No, but for freshmen, because they don't have off-campus privileges, and I did put the schedule in here for a little bit later, but if you would like them, if you want to take them from campus, you have to call in and give us that notice so that they're excused. Yep.
During a free period, is it the last part of the day?
Perfect.
Is that?
That's great.
And that then doesn't count as an absence?
No. Oh, well, it would be marked as an absence, but for study hall particularly, they wouldn't lose any credit. So we highly encourage, if you need to do it during the school day and you could do it during your study hall, that's ideal.
Every single week, and do you only get it, like, I can't see next week's to try and schedule, does that make sense?
we'll show you this.
So the schedule, we have A through H days, and so it changes every single day, but after day H, then day A repeats.
So you can look, we have calendars, you should have a school calendar that'll say November 5th is an A day. And you can look at your child's A day schedule and see, oh, they have this is block open for them. So that's how you could tell. That will never change on the mass calendar that we have, the school calendar.
Principal Egan's here.
If you look at the welcome back letter I sent, there's a whole bunch of links in there. One of them is the school day calendar. Within that, it'll tell you all the days for the year. You could look at it, it'll tell you the letter day, and then you look at this calendar, it'll tell you when the periods are.
But like Power School will only show you the one.
Right, Power School, right. You need all those calendars up on your refrigerator, so.
But Power School, if you go to the matrix view, could bring up this view that you're seeing on the screen. So if you wanted to see what does day E look like and it's not showing you on Power School for the next week, you could go up and then see what the classes would be.
This is the first lesson you learn. Don't listen to your children 100% of the time.
I don't do anything on a computer. All on my phone. Okay.
We could also print this for you, so you could just have a hard copy. Okay.
On Power School, you can only see till
Got it.
Friday and then the next week. So I was trying to schedule it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
If a child is late to class, do they get marked absent until do they need to present a pass, late pass?
Yeah, so depending on, so typically teachers take attendance right at the beginning of the period, so they will mark them absent. However, if they check in with the attendance office, they come with a pass, then they'll change it to an excused tardy or an unexcused tardy if they don't come with a pass. Yes. Yes.
So I think you just asked if they don't have privileges, so therefore they should be study halls or
And
Absolutely.
attendance is being taken in study hall, and though they don't lose credit, we will catch up with them if they're not going.
You have.
Oh, good.
They have study hall
First period or last period, they can, with your permission.
Correct.
Either sleep in or leave early, but if it's in the middle of the day, they're required.
So I'm not sure
Did
if,
everyone hear that?
that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so not sure if everyone heard that, but just to reiterate, so any study hall at the first block, so like here on this screen, purple is a study hall. If they want to sleep in, we're happy for them to do that. We just need you to call in to let us know that they're not in the building. Same thing if you have one at the end of the day. Yes.
What about a free period? If your daughter has a free period, first class, so they don't take it.
So if they have like a half a block free, then because they're not assigned anywhere, you don't have to call in. And if you want to, you can. If it'd make you feel better, but you don't have to. And they really only should have like the half a block free at the most. And then during those times, again, they don't have the permission to leave campus, so we're encouraging them to utilize the resources we have here at school, the library, the writing center, seeking extra help from a teacher. They also can go to the cafeteria and have a snack and do work in there.
There's a question over there.
Sure.
So they get 8 absences per class for the whole year?
Semester.
Semester, thank you.
Yep.
Question on the absences, so verified and unverified. Is there any implication for it being unverified? Like, what's to stop my child from doing 7
So
unverified in a class?
after 3 unverified, you would lose credit.
And you're not allowed to appeal for reinstatement. So that's where I tell kids, you're taking PE again, or you're taking it over the summer, or, you know, if it's an English class or something, you're taking it again, even if you've passed it. So they don't want to do that. Everything counts now, and it shows up on your transcript, and they really don't want to do that, so.
And everyone's still learning as freshmen, so we'll of course work with the students, we'll work with you to help everyone learn and make sure that we're not putting ourselves in any credit danger.
All right, we do our best. One more.
It sounds like I should be on Survivor, because that's how I feel.
We're here to help.
So, with the absence, is an email sufficient, or does it have to be handwritten with the name, telephone number?
Nope, sending an email is fine to our dentist. Yep. Or you can call and leave a message. Yep, whatever you prefer, whatever works for you. All right, so should we go back?
Yeah, where were we? We'll come to this.
I think we're here now.
Go ahead.
So we do have a lot of students playing fall sports. A lot of students bring their sports bag to school. So right now, students are leaving their bags by the auxiliary gym. So if your student says, I'm leaving my bags, that's where everyone's kind of dropping their bags. That's normal, and a lot of students do that. We just wanted to review, the drop off in the morning is one way. So you're coming in from Farm Road and exiting, and we're really having a push especially with our, our student drivers of safe driving on campus and, abiding by all traffic laws. So we're working on that. We asked for this, obviously the same for parents. There are 2 late buses this year, which is awesome. One at 4 and one at 5:15. So I think that's really something that's really great for your students if they have to stay after school for a club or maybe even a sport if it's over by 5:15, that there are those late buses available.
We do have encouraged kids to use their school emails quite a bit. Now, I think they didn't use them much in 8th grade, but we very much use them. And Facebook is used a lot where kids create groups for studying and class groups and things like that. So just to let you know that kind of thing does help kids notify each other around those events. They even use Facebook, which is amazing, Facebook groups and things. So that is important. The school email is important because that's how teachers get in touch and how counselors get in touch with kids, so we actually encourage them.
We've been driving our daughter to school lately because the bus leaves her very little time to get the bag drop and then get to her first class. What can be done about that so she can get to her first class and leave her bag at bag drop?
Yeah, so if she's on the bus and running late, we can give her an excuse pass. We can let her teacher know so she's not marked tardy.
Okay,
so
where would she go to get that?
She would come to the attendance office.
Okay.
And, she could check in with me if she wanted to, and she could say, you spoke to my dad at, the parent meeting, and then this way I can help navigate that with some of her teachers. I'm happy to do that. Yeah.
Does someone else have questions?
The bus, is there a bus for every route, or are there limited amount? Like, how do they figure out which bus to take?
I believe it's one bus, and they just make multiple. So it might not be your exact bus stop, but it's in your vicinity.
Okay, so you just have to find a vicinity bus.
Well, I think it's just one bus, and then you tell the driver, and then they drop you at a certain location. And you could always reach out if you wanted to Roy to say, this is my child, where would the late bus drop them off? Yeah.
All right, is there a way for a student to find out who else has free period in that period?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, that comes to privacy issues that we wouldn't release that information.
The idea of a Facebook study group, and if you're sitting there at a cafe table instead of with other students studying, just
There's an app kids are using where they upload their schedules on it and can share it with their friends.
Yeah, they have to
I can't remember the name of it.
yeah, they have to share.
Saturn.
Something new. I know about that.
He's not going to do that.
Yeah, we don't want, we can't necessarily encourage that, but.
Do you want some more questions?
Oh.
I'm sorry, but going back to talking about the buses, if my son is going to not take the bus in the morning, if I'm going to take him to school, do I need to call someone? Or if he's not there, the bus driver will figure it out?
Yeah, the buses, if they're not there at the stop, the bus driver stops and then just goes on to the next.
As someone who follows those buses, that's what happens a lot. So, any other questions around this?
I was curious about lockers. Do they get regular lockers and or athletic lockers? I know there's a bag drop, so.
So every student is assigned a locker. Unfortunately, not many students use them. So their locker information is on their Power School. We would love students to use our lockers, but for some reason, they just don't.
I keep trying to form a club around them each year. It's like, use your locker club or something to
Instead of carrying around book
carry around
bags.
books, but they don't, so.
Just a bus question. Is that typical if they share a bus with the middle school? Is that a new thing?
It's always been the case because 7th and 8th is on the same time as the high school.
So progress reports, report cards, Power School accounts. So we're already coming up on progress reports being due in the next week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is every 4 weeks. Every 4 weeks, you should be getting a report. Now, progress reports, teachers only write comments or send them out if your child is doing less than 75. If they're not doing well in the class, they will put a comment on their progress report that they have concerns. And then if they have other concerns that they might say tardy often or falls asleep in class or something like that, these are little targets for the counselors to know there's something up, but certainly for you as well. And then report cards are the next 4 weeks, so the beginning of November, you would expect the first report card to come out for you to see how your child is doing grade-wise and in Power School. You should all have your own Power School accounts that you can see generally how your child is doing. I do encourage you not to look at that too often. Don't panic about it every time you see the GPAs, as the kids do, go up and down. It's very early days, so one quiz grade can make it look like they're doing terribly when it only counts for 5 points. And so you really use it now for really clicking the links to see how they performed on a test. Is it a homework assignment that's missing? Dive into those grades on each one so you can see where the trouble might be starting if you see something that is concerning. Teachers are asked to update it every 2 weeks. So if they have a test, the grade may not be in there right away. The kids may know their grades well before it's in Power School. So it's a tool for you to use, but please don't overuse it because it becomes really nerve-wracking for everybody. But as at this 4-week mark, you should be able to see some grades coming in that are giving you some idea where your child is at this point, and then certainly in November, those will be updated as well.
Super quick question on report cards. I know you said we'll get them at the quarter and then we get them at the end of the semester. Which is the grade that goes on the transcript?
The semester grade is what goes on the transcript, which will be in January. Okay, that's the semester grade. That's what's finally reported.
When a teacher tells a class that the average will likely be in the 80s for the class, how is that helpful?
Well, I think they're probably saying to the kids who do well to feel good about it. The kids are in the 80s, okay, I'm okay. The kids are doing less than that. Maybe I need to ask the teacher for some help that I'm not getting it and I'm not keeping up to speed. And this is the time to ask the teacher for more help with why I didn't do particularly well on this.
Except that the teachers were telling the whole class that mostly people don't get A's in the class. So is that not concerning, or they're shooting for A's?
Well, I think it's. I think we can chat after if you want, and I think it'd be helpful to know more information because I think need more context to help.
Generally, kids get A's. Usually, we look at the bell curve of a grading system that there are a reasonable amount of A's and B's in a class that it does go across. So, yeah, I would like more information on that. Oh. Yeah, so those kind of started, Those are tables in the front. She asked the question about.
Yeah, what the tables were. So that kind of started during COVID because people weren't allowed in the building, and we kind of kept it because it was a good system. If your child forgets their lunch, their calculator, and you can leave it there, and then we can notify your child, or you can notify your child that it's down there. So you had Schoology on here.
So this is a class link. All kids have access to this where they can click on the little house at the top of their laptop and come up with all the links that are important to them in school, of things that they can get to. The biggest being Schoology, which all teachers use to put in their syllabus, and I'm sure you heard at Open House how different teachers use it. They put homework and materials there, so kids are really use that every day, all the time, and should be getting used to that. They know it way better than I do. I put messages in. I put messages in there because I know they're actually looking at that more than they're looking at their emails sometimes. But it's a good place for them to go. Every resource that we have in here, their username and password is the same for everything. So however they get into PowerSchool is how they get into Schoology, is how they utilize everything here. Same username and password, okay?
But their ClassLink is that one-stop shop to finding all of the apps that they need.
Again, more about Schoology. You can look to see the courses they're in and click on those to find more information as to what's going on. And then this is just
For Gmail, they have an assigned school email address.
Yes.
Are they allowed to email anyone outside of that network?
They are.
Oh, of course, yes, they can.
Okay.
Okay.
They are allowed to use their account, of course, always appropriate.
And we do encourage them as they're moving forward when we get to SATs and ACTs and APs and college stuff, the school account is perfectly okay. It does shut down July or August after they graduate and is wiped out. So then we take it back. And then the website in general is just a really good place to look for information. Under students is the school counseling website. There's all kinds of information there. When you're looking for answers to questions, there's so much of it is on the website that's just helpful for you to refer to.
So we talked a lot about the schedule already, but we wanted to make sure we had just gone over the study hall. So if you have any more questions, please ask. The free periods. Just reiterating what RAM Time Tuesdays was, I think that's helpful to everyone know that every Tuesday, during that 9:22 to 9:47, we have what's called RAM Time, and this is a time for your children to seek out extra help from any of their teachers. And if they don't have a need for help that week, then they just stay in the classroom that they're currently in, and they get a jump start on their homework for that night or for studying for a test. So, a lot of these students are really busy and have really hectic schedules. And so we're trying to give them an opportunity during the school day to get some of that extra help or get a jump start on their homework.
And then on Fridays is another alternate schedule. This is where making doctor's appointments becomes complicated because it's slightly different on Fridays and Tuesdays. So we have what's called the Connections class, which is an advisory class for kids to meet with a person in the building who's not particularly a teacher. It gives them, it's a group that will be together for 4 years. We do a lot of health and wellness kinds of activities, working on decision-making and engaging in different just communication activities and things like that. It's really a nice time for them to be in a group atmosphere. It's divided. The groups are by counselor, so like my 2 freshman groups have I can go find them and say, okay, how's everyone settling in, and help work with them as we move through over different decisions they have to make and scheduling time and things like that counselors can get in and work with the kids. That's every other Friday. The other Friday is when our TV broadcasting group puts together a program. So it's really nice. I know the link is there in Mr. Egan's update each week. The kids do such a great job. We've gotten so many awards for our journalism and TV kids. It's amazing what they do. And that's just really good to see what's happening in the school and what's important for the kids. So whatever class they're in, that's when they put that on, so all kids see the broadcast, and it's broadcast all over the school. So it's really everyone stops and read and listens. It's a nice thing. So it does go long sometimes, especially with all our sports that we have. Right. So we've given them their designated time once every other Friday to talk about that.
So the schedule definitely can be intimidating at first, I think, but hopefully you're feeling or hearing from your children at home that they're getting it now and they're feeling a little bit more settled. Definitely when you just look at it, it can be confusing, but it works and they figure it out and they do great with it. And the other thing we thought we would just share is, and we just did the first semester lunch, but every quarter the lunches shift a little bit. So, and I'm sure they're in a routine now, having been through this cycle almost a couple times, of which classes have first lunch, second lunch, third lunch, and fourth lunch. And every day they do have a different lunch because it's based on what class they're in. And again, all of these documents are on our website, so if you wanted to look at any of them after, they are there.
Class advisors, Erica Shadler's one of the school counselors, and Michael LeDuc, who's the head of the science department, are your child's class advisors for 4 years. They'll help them with all social activities and class activities that they're doing, and they really encourage kids to get involved. And this is our next big push now that they've settled into school, is to start getting them involved and engaged in things. So if they want to, join the Stuco activities, I know they're always looking for people to volunteer and be part of that, and being part of all of that. Great people they've been introduced. So.
Yep.
And then our club fair is coming up on September 30th. This is it's during school day, and there's one block for freshmen to go down, there's a block for sophomores to go down, and new students as well who are new to the school. If they're in the upper classes, will also have an opportunity to go down. And all the clubs set up in the cafeteria, all of them have candy and posters, and they're all encouraging kids to come join clubs. Most clubs meet all different times. They work around kids' sports schedules as best they can. So if your child right now is in season and can't seem to figure out how to join a club, they can always join and participate later. It's not high stakes. It's not something you get kicked out of. It's something you talk to the leaders about. But it's important. We really, in 9th and 10th grade, encourage kids to try a lot of things, because we want to, by junior and senior year, help them to focus where their interests and goals are as they move out of high school. And so clubs and electives are great ways for kids to really explore things that they might have an interest in but don't really know. And the 5 core academics isn't telling them where they're going just yet. So these things open up opportunities for them. And as you know, we have just great programs, whether the athletics are great, the drama program, the visual and performing arts in the art wing and stuff. There's just so much, it's astounding to me. And the clubs also support both academic and just fun things to do. And so we're hoping for kids to really find their niche as they go through high school, and this will help them as they move to decide what they're doing after high school.
And if your students have any passions that they don't see in the club fair, we always encourage kids to start a new club as well. And we have a lot of students that do that each year. As if you look through the club fair list, you'll see we have an extraordinary amount of clubs that it's amazing. And kids are coming up with new clubs, each year. So if your child is passionate about a topic or an idea, definitely encourage them to start their own club.
Yeah, there's so many things to do. And then, of course, for you, we have an awful lot of programs throughout the year. So we encourage you to keep in touch, really the updates, the guidance update, the weekly updates from Mr. Egan, the PFA updates. I love that weekly thing is my guide as to what's going on this week, as to what your programs are, that we keep you informed and keep you partnering with us throughout all of this. And then student supports. So, you're at the point your child might be struggling somewhere, and what do? If they're not doing well and I'm worried about them. The first contact is always the teacher. And don't be afraid to email the teacher and ask for their perspective on what they're seeing. Your child is coming home probably saying it's not their fault, it's the teacher doesn't like me, they're not teaching. There's usually method behind a teacher and what they're doing, encouraging your children to think for themselves, make conclusions for themselves, moving them, pushing them to become independent, really, of a teacher and discovering learning on their own. So it's really good to hear what the teacher has to say. On the other hand, the teacher may not know that your child is particularly struggling. They're quiet in the class, they haven't asked, and it's good for you to reach out and say, my child is saying this. Can you help them? Can you take note of what's going on and see what you can do from your end? So that teacher communication is fabulous. If that's not working for you, or you see it in multiple classes, certainly the counselor is available for help on trying to help you navigate all of it if there's things getting in the way for your children. And that's what we're here for. I know you've heard a million times all the programs we have, but also the one-on-one that we work with your kids throughout their 4 years to help them with all of this. We also have a team of psychologists, social workers, a Kids in Crisis Teen Talk counselor, Greg Sloan. All of these people are here to support the child is having some difficulties. And so if it's required to move on to that next level of support for your child, we are here to provide that for them. The nurse's office, of course, the school resource officer is here, and then grade level administrator. So we are quite the team in that we work together. We're very collaborative. We work to really do what's best for your child as best we can. Yes, so Greg Sloan, yes, his employer is Kids in Crisis, but he works here, and he works with he's been to all the 9th and 10th grade health classes or 9th grade health classes to introduce himself. It's generally on a walk-in basis to work with kids who may not feel comfortable. It's more like social issues, or, he certainly works on kids with drug and alcohol issues. It's sometimes more geared towards those that are non-academic issues, where the kids might not feel as comfortable going to their counselor, but they should feel comfortable going to the counselor.
But it is a confidential service. He's not an employee of, New Canaan Public Schools, so he is an employee of Kids in Crisis.
Greenwich. Yeah. Okay.
Then we're putting a little plug for our nurses, who just want to remind everyone about the physical requirement, that it's a state requirement during 9th grade. And if your child is an athlete, it's an annual requirement prior to the start of their season. So if you have any questions about physicals, our nurses are amazing. If you haven't already had an opportunity to meet with them, they really are the nicest people, and they're so helpful. So never hesitate to reach out to them at any time. They wanted to remind you that students cannot carry any medication on them, except if they have diabetes. They can carry insulin or an inhaler or their EpiPen. And then with parent permission through Power School, they can administer Tylenol or Advil to your children.
And if your child's not feeling well, it's very important that they not just call you and you go pick them up. It's really important for them to go to the nurse, say, I'm not feeling well, and for them to be dismissed through the nurse. So again, we know if your child is suddenly missing, what happened.
What do we have to give to who for the 9th grade physicals? You got something from the doctor bring it over to you?
Yes.
Patients.
For the physical form?
Oh.
Yeah, so
That we get from you first, or is that whatever?
most doctor's offices have them. You could say, I need to give this to my child's school. But we also could provide one to you if you need it from their office, yeah.
If the athletic department has the form, does the school nurse get it as well? So if I send it in to them?
Yes, I believe so. And they'll reach out to you if they, for some reason, didn't get it. And then if for some reason, things sometimes happen, but most of the time not. So you could just say, I shared it with, the athletic department. But they're pretty in sync. Any other questions that you're
A lot of information.
feeling? A lot of information, but hopefully we're helping you feel good, confident. Yeah.
At one point, years ago, someone said that your family has the same counselor for all of your kids. Is that, because my kids have 2 different counselors, so which is it?
Yes, generally, it's for the same, it happens that you keep the same family. So it's usually in error, because usually as the 8th grades come up, we ask the counselors, identify who your families are here. And sometimes it just gets missed. So you certainly can. You would just contact me via, or contact the counselor, say, I've always had so-and-so, can I be moved back to that person? Yeah, it's totally up to you. If it's working for you and it's fine, that's fine. If you prefer to have one counselor so you're not repeating yourself, then that's fine as well. So.
Rules come out for second semester, and if you wanted to make a change before they're out, when would you need to do that?
So I don't know. I think in Power School they're able to look at semester 2 and see what their schedules are. At this point, but if you have any trouble with that, contact your child's counselor. So if they want to make a change, we can certainly work with them on that. So.
Period when a lot of people make changes. I didn't know what that time period is. Like
So, yeah, sometimes kids are looking to get into an elective they didn't get, their first choice elective, because they were blocked out of it. So this is one time to look to see if anything opened, because things have moved around a lot. Now we've settled down. Now we can see what's available. And then it happens again in January as kids look to change what they're doing again, particularly seniors and juniors who are trying to, based on, well, all kids, based on their successes in first semester, what do they want to do differently for second semester? So it tends to open up again in January, a lot of movement going around. So it's always good to keep on the counselor's radar that you're looking for that spot. So great.
Really great questions.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And reach out anytime if you have any questions or concerns.